So I'm sitting at this dinner and I'm talking to this pretty successful business person. And we're talking about life. And then the topic of business and finance, money comes up. Now, before I continue the story, I just want to say that usually when people start talking about their businesses or their finances, etc., money, usually it's focused on their current successes and their future successes, right? We've got this new venture and this new business. We're going to go public and so on and so forth. It's all about making more money. Now back to our story. So topic of business, money comes up. And the guy says, yeah, money. The clock is ticking. And I thought to myself, the clock is ticking like, you mean like to make more money? So I said to him, what do you mean the clock's ticking? He says, the clock's ticking to give it all away. I said, what do you mean? He says, a year ago, I buried my brother. And I watched him go into the grave with nothing. And it just reminded me that I can't take any of this with me. Nothing. And so my goal is to time the rest of my life to slowly give away all of my money to tzedakah, so that by the time I leave this world, I leave with nothing left over. It's all given away. And so the clock is ticking to give it all away. And I was so blown away by this, because we live in a world where it's the opposite. We're all trying to make more money so that there's more in the bank, so that we have financial security in the end, right? So that there's more money in the bank by the time we're getting to the end of our lives. And this guy is trying to time it the opposite. He's trying to slowly give it all away, pace himself, and give it all away so that there's nothing left in the end. Now, just as a disclaimer, I'm not saying that everybody should take out a check and a pen and write away their life savings today. That's not what I'm saying. I think the lesson that I was so blown away by is seeing how somebody can look ahead to the end of their life, to think so carefully, what kind of life do I want to have led? And then to actually play out their life that way. And I think that's the lesson to take away. That we can all look at the end of our lives and say, what kind of life do I want to have led? And now let me start living it. And we say this all the time. We say this every Friday night in Lechadodi. We say, Sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila. That the final result, the final outcome, begins with our thoughts. We think, what do I want the end to look like? Ezehu chacham haroas hanolad, we say in Pirkei Avos. Who is wise? Someone who sees the outcome. It's an incredible thing when a person can look to the end, to begin with the end in mind, and then to actually live their life that way. To think, what kind of mother do I want to have been? What kind of husband do I want to have been? What kind of parent do I want? What kind of child to my parents do I want to have been? What kind of Jew do I want to have been? Do I want to be more courageous? Do I want to have stepped outside my comfort zone? Do I want to have faced my fears? What kind of life do I want to have led? And now how can I start living it? It's such a powerful lesson, one that we all need all the time. Take a few moments, think about this, begin with the end in mind, and start living based on how you want the end to look. It's like I always say, don't say one day, one day, one day, one day, one day, because one day may never come. Rather, instead of one day, say day one, day one, day one. Thank you all for listening. And I want to thank our sponsors today. Special thank you to David Posner and Stacy Farber for sponsoring in memory of Stacy's father, Alan Joseph Richmond, Eliyahu ben Shmuel Olav Shalom, may his neshama have an aliyah, as well as to Harry Kukowski and Golda Brown, sponsoring in memory of Golda's father, Al Brown, Eliyahu Gedalia ben Yerucham Fishel Olav Shalom, may his neshama have an aliyah as well. Thank you for sponsoring. Thank you all for listening, and I'll see you next time on Inspiring Hope.